hey, maybe you, like I have, learned a lot, then justify that. And I don't mean that you just like it. That would be fine. But learning can happen out of fear, uncertainty, insecurity, which doesn't really go away unless you just learn more. But swindlers might offer you a way out without doing it. It could be just avoidance too. So you can justify ignoring whatever priorities you have for something potentially useful, possibly in the future. And essentially you can feel good about your progress, doing something that is widely regarded as respectful. So you can read about the Roman Empire and feel better for it. And this is a topic that covers it. How do I stop this crippling productivity YouTube addiction? I took an interest in technology, geopolitics, and history a year ago and filled my YouTube subs with channels that align with these interests. I did learn quite a bit, but not enough to talk about it. This is fine, but I feel a little out of control because of this addiction to information which I don't even process properly. I feel like I'm fooling myself into using YouTube productively by watching all these videos on the conflict of the Taiwan Strait, history of semiconductors, and chess documentaries. But the fact that I'm not able to process them and put them to use indicates to me using it as a distraction, not for useful reasons. Even if it was useful, technically speaking, just in case is not as useful, even remotely, as just in time. I'm fooling myself into watching these smart videos to put away work I need to do now without feeling bad about it. That's an excellent point. I suppose a common example of it would be like some student who's like should be learning, like I guess, are suddenly feeling like cleaning their room or something. So they feel good about doing something good, but they're not doing what they find that is the priority right now. Obviously, I can't use every single piece of info across these videos and commit them to my understanding, but what I'm getting out of these videos is not worth the time I'm putting in. You end up forgetting it, kinda. Has anyone else gone through this? How did you stop? Treat it as leisure. It's just an addiction because you use being about productivity as a label to mean it isn't procrastination, which it is. The only productive thing to do is focus work. The rest is fluff. I 80% agree with this, but not all gold is gonna be in your way. So sometimes some wandering is justified. Don't waste your life away stuck in research mode. Every week there are several posts that basically say, if you read between the lines, help, the internet is ruining my life and I'm miserable. What should I do? The internet is useful, educational, and informative. I remember the naive times where people thought that the internet is gonna come and everyone's gonna be like learning useful things all the time. Let's be honest, at least 90% of what you call useful and educational is entertainment for you. At best, we can call it infotainment. Although infotainment is good, if you're learning the right things, information that is presented as in an entertaining manner. It's nothing wrong with that. I love infotainment. However, if you're educating yourself on random topics that has no real practical benefit for you, at least be honest with yourself. You're entertaining yourself. And that's an excellent point. So if you're clear about it, that you're just doing it for fun, you might actually get something out of it, sure. But it is fun, right? I will turn 35 next year, and all my friends are around the same age. In my group of friends, the least accomplished and the least happy people are those that have gotten stuck in what I call research mode. It's pretty sad to see. Those people are very intelligent, often even more so than those in my group of friends that are the most successful. However, instead of actually focusing on a few topics and doing something with the information, they become semi-educated on a few topics at a time that often have no practical benefits to their lives and that they find interesting, right? So in a way, they're kind of like chasing their curiosity at this point. Although there could be other motivations behind the scenes. When they get bored, they just move on to the next topic. What is common for all of them is that they never do anything with the information. Doing something actually takes work, and they don't want to do that. Although many type of work could be just mainly learning, right? Also, doing something can be a bit scary because when you move out of your comfort zone, in front of your computer, you introduced the scary aspects of hard work and possibility of failure. Yeah. People are really taught against failing, and it's not useful. Also, is it like hard work? Maybe like, sure, but it's also reward sparse environment, right? If you just watch a movie or like read like a self-help book, then you can feel like a winner in like a few hours. But if you just try to do the same thing, well, I guess it can apply to video games as well. But if you just try to do the thing on your own, it's probably gonna be less rewarding, feel less rewarding. Although you might be into it, love it hardcore, which is gonna help you. But generally speaking, it's gonna be, well, there are gonna be less wins. From their perspective, they really think that the internet is useful. And the way it is. Every time we get together for dinner, they are way more educated than the rest of us when it comes to current events, new cool science stuff, and the politics. However, they are also the least accomplished of us all. Come to 35, close to 35 with no real career, girlfriend, boyfriend, and not much else going on either. It's a pretty sad look when you're pushing 35. If you actually want to get something done, or get somewhere in life, the only thing that makes sense is to collect information for a specific purpose, then actually use the information that you have just collected. I might even say that just reverse it, the whole thing. Start with doing and do and learn, I suppose. Because it's really, really difficult. Well, you might be stuck in the phase of like just getting ready for the thing. Like learn, and never taking action. If you try to keep up with everything, you will be left with nothing. Before you say that the internet is useful and educational, ask yourself, what have all this research done for you? What do I have to show for it? Yeah, I mean, you have to just realize it that you're gonna be ignorant in many topics. And you have to be. You have no choice. Well, your choice is that you get to be a little bit less ignorant about things at the cost of, at great cost for sure. If you want to get in amazing shape, all that you need to know that can be learned in a couple of hours. The rest is just months or even years of hard work, yeah. I guess this would be a good example that, like, suppose someone made that choice, would they start to do push-ups immediately? Or they might, research, try to read a book or something, maybe try to find some kind of a service that kind of helps them. I mean, I guess that might be okay. It was like, just come to our fat loss clinic or some kind of fat loss camp, fatty camp or whatever, and we're just gonna make it easy for you. I mean, it might be fine, but point is they are kind of hesitating on action. If all this research information is basically ruining your life because you get addicted to the process, you must, what a good phrase. Addicted to the process, yeah. So generally, this is kind of recommendation these days that you better love the doing, but if you love the wrongdoing, then it's not gonna be that great. You must understand that it is not good for you. You need to take a step back and reassess how you approach this. Right. Ouch. This is painfully true. I've always loved learning, but was shy and self-conscious. So I think that's how I've become trapped in this internet addiction. Slowly I've come to realize that whenever I have a question about the world, it's probably not particularly helpful to immediately Google the answer. With a source of infinite information in my pocket, it takes seconds to know how many hours by train is a city I'll never go to. It feels useful to know, but it's not. If I ever do go there, I have to Google again anyway. It's strange to accept that even just sitting with my own thoughts is probably more useful rather than distracting myself constantly from reality. I somewhat disagree with the angle. I mean, you should be focusing on priorities if you can. Or at least admit that you don't. You just want to do what you like. If you try to keep up with everything, you'll be left with nothing. Oh boy, that hit me hard. One of the best posts I've read here probably puts everything into perspective. Research is often procrastination disguise. Have to feel like you're getting ahead, but actually procrastinate. So you can have a feeling of progress, feeling of adventure, feeling of insight. But was it really that useful? It's kind of hard though, right? Can you just hand someone like a big paper brick and like say that it's gonna help them? I've read so many books though. I clearly got a fair bit out of it, but I would argue that out of most books, you only get like, well, I would say even out of the best books, you get like 1 or 2 pages worth of good stuff out of. And most books are just kind of pointless. They try to give you like good vibes, so you give it like 5 stars and you feel like you get your money's worth out of them, but you may not. So ultimately, the only thing that is better than having a habit of learning is also not doing it too much. So let's say that you try to read like 1 book, or at least a week or 2 weeks. But that is what you do, right? You don't try to read like 20 books in a week. That wouldn't be effective. And this is more of a business angle. No more inside prawn. Here's how anyone can make six figures. Offer a service for a business, something marketing or sales related, get 10 clients for 1,000 per month, and boom, you're making six figures a year. Easy, right? Okay, maybe you don't care about making six figures, but surely everyone would love to become more productive. Productive is such an odd word, because does productive mean doing more of what you want to do? Or are you just slave to some idea of what you should be doing? Or is it just doing what others want you to do? Suppose productive actually is in contrast to what you want to be doing, and you can do what you want. Should you be productive? At that point, like, productive is kind of a religion. So here's how you can easily triple your productivity. Simply decide that your days are 6 hours long. This allows you to get 3 days work of done in just one day. Now, if you do the math, in 1 month, you will get 90 days worth of work done. Amazing, right? These examples are obviously ridiculous, but at the same time, they're 100% real examples of pseudo-actionable advice proudly broadcasted into the world by inside prawn artists. I'm not kidding. I guess just doing it is just slow. And also could be boring. And every time you fall, you're like, oh, am I doing it wrong? Maybe someone out there is just super genius who can teach me how to do this like instantly. My humble estimate is that 99% of the advice and insights out there is exactly as useful as the two ridiculous examples just mentioned. Also, they don't have a specific solution for you, right? You just, at best, even assuming that it's not bad necessarily, it might not be applicable to you. That's why asking ChatGPT, an AI, could be far, far, far more useful than hoping that you're going to find something relevant on the internet. And one aspect that I didn't even allude to before is that most of these advice givers want to keep you a customer for life. They want to give you some kind of learned helplessness, and often just aiming for feel good, bad advice. Now, this wouldn't be a problem if inside prawn was always that easy to spot. Usually it isn't. It's usually expressed in more sophisticated language and sandwiched between engaging stories. I kind of hate stories. I hate them. I mean, can you imagine like going to like a math class and someone talks about like, yeah, let me tell you about my grandpa. It's like, oh, that's kind of weird. But this could be their entire book. Like, this could be an entire shtick, and try to be inspiring. Yeah. I guess that would be my point. Would it look strange in a math class, right? Someone's like, inspired! And like, check out, let me tell you about my pet turtle or something. Yeah, it's just weird. And that's what makes it so dangerous, but the pattern is always the same. It's advice that sounds plausible and breaks down a goal many people dream about into actionable steps. This is extremely inspiring content. It's insightful. Par excellence. Also, they are mostly preying on people who don't know much. Because even if you get to the point where you're like, you have like mid experience, you're gonna have far less people trying to prey on you. And this is why you may have had the experience that if you talk to ChatGPT and about something that you knew a lot about, then you could see that ChatGPT was making errors. But if you asked ChatGPT about stuff that you didn't know about, which is probably would be most topics, then ChatGPT looked like a fucking genius. So these people possibly don't know that much, but they possibly know more than you are at least claiming to. Anyway, only once you actually try to do anything with the advice do you notice it's completely useless. Far too many essential details are missing. It could be just bad on purpose, right? This happened time and time again to me. It's no longer funny. Want to come up with great start by days? Just live in the future and then build what's missing? Easy, right? I only need a time machine. Even better, just send messages to executives and ask them what their biggest pain points are right now. Oh yeah, man. That's it. Or make a list of dream outcomes that people have. Write down common problems that stand in between people and their own dream outcome. Then write down solutions to them. The only thing then left to do is decide if you want to deliver your solutions using a done with you, or do it yourself model. It's so simple. That is, of course, until you actually try to do any of that. But why then does pseudo-actionable advice get recommended over and over again? You also have to ask yourself, is it in their best interest to teach you, to give away their knowledge? Because even in the best cases, it might not be, because they kind of want to use it over you, even if they have knowledge in this case. Now, of course, it could be irrelevant too. 2 reasons. Most people never do anything with the advice they receive, since the advice sounds kind of plausible. People who never put it into practice believe they just received tremendous value. They click. Also, they because they don't know, they can only tell based on vibes, right? They click that like button and write glowing reviews for the book, article, podcast they got it from. When the few people who actually try to do something with the advice inevitably get stuck, they assume themselves are the problem. Yeah, that's a massive problem. So at that point, you just you made them insecure. So possibly they're gonna come back for more advice. And if they don't come back for you for advice, they might go to others for advice. So they didn't learn anything. In fact, whatever information they got out of it, they're probably deeper in the hole, assuming the information was bad. Of course, it could be just irrelevant and they're wasting their time. Thousands of people gave the book 5 stars on Amazon, so it's probably just me who's dumb to apply the lessons, right? But even assuming the best scenario, let's say that you just in case trying to learn something, and then you try to put it into practice, you just completely fail, right? Because that's not how you're supposed to be doing it. At the very least, you should be doing it very actively. This is the pattern that allows all inside prawn artists to thrive, and it truly makes me mad. So many people give up because they tried and failed, not realizing that the real problem was that they followed useless pseudo-actionable advice. Also, they rarely teach you what they're actually doing. So it's almost a total waste of time to listen to people, you know? Just see what they're doing and copy that. And if you can't see it, that they might be obfuscating and fake. It's definitely not just fake gurus that lead people astray. I wish the case was always as easy as was with Napoleon Hill. Many people that truly accomplish amazing things, when asked for the key to their success, come with some framework or playbook that they in fact never use themselves. Yeah, just a feel-good nonsense. This happens completely without bad intentions. It could be bad intentions. That you can, like, the thing is, if you ask some guy to give you the key to destroy their empire, they will not do that. They're just gonna tell whatever that sounds good. If you read most biographies, I know some of you might like them, but I hate them because they always just exalt the person. They tell some dumbass stories and make them sound just beyond this world. They're essentially just marketing for the person. And even if, let's suppose that it was neutral, they're still kind of incentivized to make that person sound amazing, right? They cannot just have a biography that's just boring, right? No, you gotta make it fun, interesting. So if you care about the person, maybe read about them on Wikipedia a little bit, but that's pretty much it. Don't read their biography. It just that people love to say things that make them look good. Yeah. Offering a step-by-step playbook or framework makes you look so much smarter than saying, I don't know, I got lucky, or explaining, or my daddy was rich, or explaining what you really did, including all the dirty little secrets. Yeah. Yeah, have no doubt about this. Almost all people out there who are rich are ruthless. So at least don't care about who they hurt. It signals that you not just accomplished something amazing, but also understand precisely how. So while focusing on advice from people who have successfully done what you're trying to do is a solid filter, it's not enough. I don't think you should be naive. Like, what is their incentive? Their incentive is to exalt themselves, make them look good, possibly sabotage you. You're not even thinking about that. Their incentive is to sabotage you and keep you possibly a customer for life, being part of their fan club. Regardless of their background, most people giving advice simply come up with stuff that sounds cool. It is kind of plausible and fits into whatever image they want to publicly project. Yeah. So the best I can do is tell you what I do now. When I'm consuming nonfiction content, I try to write down specific experiments I can try that put the things I learn into practice. For example, just this morning, I read a chapter in Nick Winter's Motivation Hacker and gave me the idea to track my happiness in hourly intervals to get a more accurate picture of how much I enjoy certain activities without giving it to the peak end effect. I don't even do this. I don't care. Like, what if none of this bullshit? What do you need to do? Just think about the stuff you want to do, put them in line, just do them. That's it. And others might tell you, and this is the cure. Others might tell you that there's a simple way to do it, and there is not. You can break them down in tasks, so actually you know what to do, because you might have something that's not actionable, I suppose. But otherwise, that's it. Just put stuff in line and just do them, or put them on your calendar and just do them, right? And once you accept that there's no magic to make it easier, and the only magic to make it easier is do more of it. And that's it. I'm not claiming to be good at it, but that is the only thing that works. If I'm not able to write down any specific experience, I know the book, video, podcast, article, or thread, it's just fluff, and I should stop reading. Yeah, this is an excellent point. There are books there where you just make no notes, and you might feel like you're getting good value, but you have no notes. There's nothing to really think about, and at the end of it, you don't think about it. So it was just a waste of time. Listening, watching as soon as possible. This is an incredibly useful tool. Many authors and speakers are extremely skilled at creating the illusion of powerful insights through engaging stories, fortune cookie wisdom, and the use of sophisticated language. Yeah, I might give a unpopular advice here, if it's an advice. That's why ChatGPT can be very useful, because it has a dry style. It's not trying to woo you with their sophistry, not trying to get you emotional. So you know that if it's giving you things, it is because it's good information, possibly. At least it's trying. Novels over popular, How to Get Rich Without Getting Lucky is a masterclass in this. It all sounds really smart and helpful until you actually try to do anything with it. Oh man. I quite like that. Taking shots at that too. If you're not getting something actionable out of it, you're probably wasting your time. The bar is really low here. I'm usually happy to find just one truly actionable nugget in hundreds of pages of text. An obvious exception is context you consume purely for entertainment. Yeah. So that's a very key distinction that we have to make. So if you just do it for fun, it's fine, right? It's fine. But you should not be fooling yourself that it's gonna be for progress or whatever. As long as you are aware that this is what you're doing, there is definitely nothing wrong with it. But insight porn is dangerous since it makes you feel like you're doing something productive, even though there's zero substance. If there is an experiment that seems reasonably plausible and is aligned with my goals, and give it a shot. The biggest red flags that disqualify experiments before I try them are a lack of specificity and no real details on how the author has done it himself. Possibly a good way to know is just by a lot of information, a lot of showing, right? I'm usually not judging any experiments using a single source. A tweet is getting a bit more specific. Ultimately, the point is just to not pat yourself on the back for learning, but actually doing something with it.